Howdy folks, it's me, Manic Mark, your real fake outsider artist, coming to you today from the bunker system located underneath the art villa found somewheres in the jungles of the Midwest. And I got some drawings today because why? It's another day of wondrous adventure here in the bunker system with Manic Mark, and I'm not doing what I should be doing, which is whatever it is. I have no idea. What should I be doing? It doesn't matter. Anyway, gospel vampire singers. And I've started to flush that idea out. And the reason I had that idea was based on an album cover I showed you. Well, I'm going to show you the first album the other album cover by the same group that I found a ways back that actually started that idea rolling quite a long time ago. I never did anything with it, but I just like, wow, this, you know. So here it is. It's on the screen. There you go. Now you see what I mean? And I can't, you know, I'm really not going to play a sample from the album because they're well known and they're competent. They did something vocally that actually, and I don't remember what it is. Maybe I'll go back and review it, post it. I had no idea. Anyway, they did something vocally that was groundbreaking, you know, and or trend-setting in gospel music. Something they did vocally. Anyway, I have nothing against them. It's just this picture. You know, look at it. What can you say? It's just. And so far, you know, this is as far as I've got with it. I think I've got a title. That I researched it, you know, online. I don't think anybody's used this. Dark Songs. That's going to be the name of the movie. Well, the idea is this family of vampires is basically in the early 60s, just surviving, you know, by traveling around the country, taking advantage of people and sucking their, you know, ripping their throats out. And, you know, and this is what they do. And how they get around the country is going to be in a 60s, or maybe it should be a 50s, because it would have... The vehicle, I came up with the vehicle. It's a blend of time. It's a blend of time, and what the Reed family is going to be driving is one of them 2.5-ton military trucks with a multi-fuel engine. They're cut down. They take the rear axle off. It's still a 4x4, and it's going to be pulling like a 1.5-ton trailer. Military trailers converted to their trailer, and you're looking at the picture online, and it's when they drive through a small town, you know, it has the recording that like hypnotizes people to get them to come, some of them to come, and others will just forget about it. And it's got 60s Cadillac hearse parts on it. That's what it's got on it. 60 Cadillac hearse parts. It's kind of all in military tires and everything. And it's got pipes on it, and the pipes belch smoke and fire. And it's got all this stuff on it. And it's driven by the midget that has to strap blocks of wood to his. He's got special blocks with like little straps. He straps his feet so he can reach the pedals. And he's got he's shifted. I don't know if it's a shift, maybe an automatic. I don't know. It depends on what kind of truck we can get a hold of. What the budget will bear in the movie. Okay. And the trailer has to have like a big sign on it and painted, and the paint's fading off, and it's the name of the group, and it's like an old circus faded, you know, with symbolism on it and so forth and so. And I haven't got well, like the hand with the nail through, and I realized I haven't. Where I grew up, there was a, and it still may be there, but when you drove into town, I think there was a church there, and there was a hand with a nail stuck through it, bloody, and it's been there for as long as I can remember. And okay, what's the deal? Okay, well, Reed and these others, see, I've got him with a hand. I got him with a hand, but he doesn't have a hand. He's got a mechanical claw, like a mechanical clamp, and I had to figure out some way to tie in the heroes to the villains in the movie. So he's got a mechanical hand, clampy hand, and inside when he's doing his Hellfire speech, he's got the lights on, the blinking lights on the star, and then he's got mirror balls, and there's urns with claw feet and fire, and then there's the hand with and I figured out a way to tie the hand with the spike in it, okay, into this whole thing. And he's preaching and everything, and what he's doing here is he gets people to put their hand on this wooden star, and the midget holds holds a spike and they nail their hand to the star, and that's how the Reverend Reed gets them to stay in the sermon. He collects them, and that's how they give their offering. They nail their hand. Why is that? Well, and they don't use the cross though. Okay, what they use is a star. A star that's lit up in kind of old-fashioned light bulbs around the outside. Would be a metal star, and then to be red in the center. Something red would light up in the center, and there would be light bulbs that would be broken and missing. Okay, and they would throw up this tattered black drape behind it, and they would hang this star from wires. They'd be kind of like twisted and tied in this dilapidated tent, okay, that they've got, that they tour with the creaking, folding, two small wooden seats, and he's a very tall, very thin, pasty face, based on this album cover, okay, that I'm going to show you. Now maybe I'll play this a song from this. This is really a good gospel record, but it's one of my favorite covers. Okay, check that out. Welcome to the cemetery, my friends. This is real. So but all these ideas are coming from my study of gospel music from the 60s and Private Press records. They have nothing against it. It's great, wonderful music. Because every record has to have a gimmick. It's just what life's all about. And then you have the faith healers that have been, debunked. But people still follow them nonetheless. Anyway, this is kind of based on that offering that fake hope and behind the scenes things that go on, but people still leave. Have faith in these people, and they still leave. They don't believe that these people could have done any manipulated them and stole and taken their money and not cured anyone and left them in woe and misery. They're blind to that because they have a blind faith in something better than these people, but yet it's transferred to these people. That was way deep. Anyway, I'm gonna run out of time here. Just do a couple of videos. So that's the concept, right? So people go and it's like the typical vampire thing, they can't stand the cross and the religious things, they can't deal with that, right? But everything is like him, it's like they're worshiping him, but the people think it's him, but it's not him, it's him. It's the bad evil guy. And the star, they just say, well, it's the light of him, and people are like, well, there's no crosses, but there's the star, and they get kind of caught up in the whole entertainment value of these revival meetings, these hellfire revival meetings where this guy preaches. So that's going to be great. It's going to be a great part of the movie where he's preaching hellfire. He's got his two daughters with the black beehives. Everybody looks like vampires, but nobody. It's like the freakism that people are drawn to, like the one-armed bass player. I've got a record of a one-armed bass player, a little girl in a wheelchair, and there's just a multitude. The midget, the singing midget. There's a multitude of these albums out there of these people using their own woe and misery, to sell records, because people are just like titillated by it. Again, I'm kind of regressing, but nonetheless. Okay, where am I? Anyway, when they finally get and they have these revival meetings, Red Reed, he wears like this red sequence jacket that sparkles in the light, and everything's kind of like yellow and red and sort of soft, and there's kind of like smoke, and you've got the lights, and they're going to be maybe the star needs to blink, the lights need to blink, and so things are kind of blinking and things are and people are transfixed because he's a vampire. He has the power to suggest that's better. Things are cleaner and brighter and happier than what they appear to be, and everything's kind of disheveled and broken down and worn out and evil. All right. Okay, and they've got the hands with the nails through them, right? That are props, and is very garish and gaudy, and they have a band because they need music. And what I want to do is promote. Well, it's not market with the movie vinyl. Okay. This is for all you record collectors out there. A vinyl collectible, and it's going to be music that these folks are going to play. They maybe not actually play it. So the next page, I came up with the band, because all revival meetings are a mixture of hellfire preaching and music. Okay, and garish album covers. Okay, so this will be a garish album cover. Ruby Ann Reed and Miss Vicky Violet Reed. Their names are colors. Okay, the wife is Ruby Ann, and the daughter's Miss Vicky Violet. And I don't know if they're a wife and a daughter. That's just what it appears to the people. It's just probably women that he sucked the blood out of and turned into vampires. It has nothing to do with a real family. And then there's the midget. I got a midget in this. Okay, the midget is part of the family. All right, I'll get to him. The girls don't speak. In most vampire movies, the classic ones like the Hammer films, I don't ever think the women ever say anything. They just come out and they're skinny and they're pale, and they want to suck the blood out of the leftover meat that the vampire leaves them. They always get the leftover for some reason, and they fight over it. Okay, but they play. One of them plays. I'm thinking the younger one plays the saxophone. Okay, and the old one plays the drums, which is just basically what the bass drum, I don't know what you call it, the round thing in front of the, and the snare and just a cymbal. It's a very rudimentary, kind of high-pitched kind of sound, basic, very basic sort of rhythm. Against the sax, which of course is kind of a lower range, sort of more mystical instrument. And the midget, his name is Little Roman Reed. I couldn't figure out a collar for him. But Roman Reed sound good, okay. He plays this, like it's in the 60s, they probably found like this, there got to be these little pump organs. I know they're out there. They're little vintage antique pump organs, and you had to pump it, and they just kind of sounded windy and wheezy and out of tune, and this one's beat up. But what they got is they got this little like air compressor with a wheel on the outside that pumps the air into the organ, So you've got this rhythm of the air compressor, like, and then instead of like the pumping with the feet. Anyway, just an idea. I haven't flushed it out yet. And he plays the keyboards, and they sing classic songs. Okay, like I Should Have Been Crucified, which is one of my favorite songs, and I've collected, I don't know, 9 or 10 versions of it from a variety of sources. But I'm thinking like all these songs should be based on Latin rhythm. I don't know what kind of music it is. I don't know what kind of music it is yet. I haven't figured it out. I thought it was one kind, but it's going to be another kind. And there's some in the background. I don't know. There's some in the background. Let's go on. I came up with and I would like to do a whole album. And I would like to find people that are not trained musicians that would the actors, you would have to lip sync or do, so there would be, it's like the Shags. Everybody heard of the Shags? It was this group of girls. It was a family, 3 girls and their father kind of made them make a record, which Frank Zappa loved, and it caught on. It was like a totally, outsider record, and their songwriting and rhythms, incompetence was endearing, and they were kind of a big call, and their records are, pricey. I haven't been able to buy one yet because they're too much money for Manic Mark. So, but anyway, I would like it to be like, because you don't want to make that up. You can't make that up and put it on a record and have people buy it because they know it's made up. It takes the fun out of it. So I need to find people that are real people and put them together in a crazy studio session where they record these songs based on Latin rhythms. And there you go. That's the end of the idea. The next step is to go on. I need a hero, and I need some way to get through the movie where things happen through the movie, and the hero has to do stuff. And
troublesome water, much black and night, are hiding from view and harbor bright light, tossing and tumble on life's stormy sea. I cried to my Savior, have mercy on me. Then gently I'm feeling the touch of His hand, guiding my boat and safely to land, leading the way to heaven's bright shores, troublesome waters, I'm pure and no more. When troublesome waters around me do roll, rocking my boat and wrecking my soul. Loved ones are drifting and living and sin, straight to the sorrow pool, are pulling them in. When troublesome waters are rolling so high, I lift up my voice and to heaven I'll cry. My Lord, I'm entrusting, give guidance to me, studying my boat on life's troubled sea. Then gently I'm feeling the touch of His hand, guiding my boat and safely to land, leading the way to heaven's bright shores, troublesome waters, I'm pure and no more.
Many years ago, the heroes of the story, which are Dave, and I don't know if it's Dave and Buck and Dave, and Dave is a motorcycle guy back in 1954, and his little brother, Buck, he's taking him to school. Dave's probably been drinking beer early in the morning, and they come across the old farmhouse out in the middle of nowhere. And he's supposed to be taking Buck to school, but it's just about dawn, right? Of course it is. It's just about dawn, and this is the crazy part where I'm not explaining this thing very good because I already explained it before. Now it's just like it's morphing into what it really is, which is madness. The whole movie's like crazy, mad thing, like an hallucination, like the LSD trip. Okay, and they come across. Well, anyway, they come across the house and it's all dark and mysterious and run down and broken. And Dave wants to go in, and the little Buck, who's younger, he's I don't know 12. Or I figured chronologically I don't know. Anyway, he calls him a pussy. Dave calls Buck a pussy, and he tells him to screw school. But he really because they're brothers, they just but he's gonna make him go in here. He doesn't think anything's gonna happen. He's just gonna scare Buck. Right? He goes inside, and then in the basement, and on this page, in the basement, they find the coffin, and it's like, geez, come down. And Buck says, I don't want to, it's dark down there. And he wait a minute, and he's banging around, and there's crap and stuff and tools and everything, and he finds the window, and he rips the cloth off and lets some light in, just the vestige, just a touch of the early morning light's coming through. Wait a minute, I can see a little bit. There's a coffin down here. I'm going to see what's in it. There's a lock on it. He finds a claw hammer and a screwdriver, and he's like trying to get it off. And Buck's saying, no, don't do it, Dave. It's like getting really tense. Then I didn't draw the next page. What happens is he breaks the lock off, and then reads inside of it, okay? And he's half asleep, but it's like because he's going to sleep because it's dawn. He has to be, right? Because it's like the standard traditional vampire tale, and he kind of like half has the energy to push the coffin lid up a little bit, and he reaches out, and then Buck's downstairs, and Dave's freaking out, and he's like pushing down on the coffin lid, but the hand like grabs his coat. He's like, and he goes, help me, Buck, and Buck's like, screaming, and there's just like tools falling over, and he's like just grabs a screwdriver and he jams it while the hand's turned over, and it's grabbing, and he jams it so the screwdriver goes through the hand and into the coffin, and reads inside, and he can't, because he's like, it's almost daylight, and he's like, the lid's flopping up and down, and his hand's in it, the light's starting to creep over, and he's like, and he's inside, okay. Whew. Wow, you can see how intense this movie's going to be, right? There you go. Okay, so then what happens? I'm just making it up as I go along. Why? Because I don't plan anything. Okay, except I've got drawings, which means I planned a little bit ahead. Okay, anyway, he's in the okay. There's the struggle. That's right. That's where I was. The struggles. That's why I filmed this thing, because I'll never remember it if I don't. They're struggling, and Buck picks up a shovel, and he's like, he whacks it, and he whacks, and he cuts the hand right off. Okay, and it's still a hold. It's like got a hold of it, and Dave has to pull the screwdriver out. It's like got a death grip on it, and he rips it off, and he shoves it in his pocket. I don't know why. Because when they go outside, it'll probably blow up in flames, right? I don't know. Anyway, people, that's what they're going to think is going to happen. Like, well, if he goes outside, it doesn't burn up. Maybe these vampires don't burn in the sun. They have to. They're scared of it. I don't know. Something happens. Anyway, he puts it in his pocket, and they run out. And they motorcycle, they run away. Well, this experience has been so difficult on them, and I don't know how to transition to the next stage. But Dave continues to drink. Well, he's probably an alcoholic already, but he drinks. But he becomes a self-made street preacher, living on the street, just living on the street, eating whatever he can find, drinking whiskey and preaching. And he's got this red bag with the cross on it, and that's where he keeps the hand, because Reed wants his hand back. And he kind of has an idea, sort of, he can kind of sense where his hand is, so he kind of, but Dave also knows, because when Reed starts to get close, the hand moves, so he can kind of stay away from him. So it's been this cat and mouse game. That's why he drinks, and he gets into religion, right? And he's a street preacher because he's insane, and he's trying to stay away from the devil, which is vampire Reed, okay? So it's just this cat and mouse game they're playing. And he becomes disassociated with his brother, Buck, who ends up going to college. He's also been affected. And he goes to college and he studies biology, trying to find a way that he figures this has to be some kind of blood impurity, right? It has to be based in science. It can't have anything to do with religion, right? Or mythology. So he goes to school to study science, right? And then he finds his brother, and he's like, I've got to, he's like been studying blood and on the nano level, and he's been able to take pure water and convert it into some form so that apparently there'll be a chain reaction when it's injected. But he needs vampires to test it, right? And he finds his brother, and then in the next page, they get in the car, which is a 70 town and country station wagon. Why? Because, well, on a professor's salary, which is Buck assistant professor, let's just say he's an assistant. He doesn't earn a lot of money, so he's bought this 70 town and country station wagon. Well, it's large enough for all the gear, okay, so that's cool. And then his brother's like, he puts a big thing on it with lights and a cross, and the Wright brothers, that's their name. It's Buck and Dave, the Wright brothers, R-I-G-H-T. Jesus saves, and it's like another traveling thing where he's going around saving people. But in this case, they're chasing the vampire, so there's this chase. And they're always one step behind because of, again, the tug, give and take, the cat and mouse thing with the hand throbbing, and right near his, that's bad. I gotta cut all that out anyway. And then Reed with his claw. Okay. And they're chasing, basically chasing around the country. Now, what happens next is that, I'm sorry, the brother also, he's got this, he wants to inject it, but he also develops these little hard glass balls that he puts in the 410 shotgun shells, which his brother Dave keeps in the wheel gun, public defender, shotgun pistol, okay? And of course they break on impact, and anyway, but so the deal is they figured they're prepared, okay? So they go out looking for and when they run into them, they have, of course, the confrontation, which is they shoot a couple of them. I don't know how many are there. I don't know the dynamics of the particular instance, but the glass and balls is like sets them on fire. But you know how they kind of burn up in the movies and everything? Well, in this case, I'm just thinking like wherever they're hit, it's going to burn, and they're going to be completely tortured. But I know if they're going to die, and they're going to come on, and there's going to have to be other kinds of physical violence going on in there, maybe with knives or something. It's going to be pretty brutal. I'm not sure, but eventually they kill these two. It's not going to be easy like in most movies where the vampires just kind of go up in a puff of smoke. No, it's going to be more difficult to deal with them. Then they find like hot girl, the hot girl who's been bitten, right? And just they know that she's got to change into a vampire. And he figures out that he had 24 hours to save her, so they can inject her with this purified water called the Purity. They've named it the Purity. Okay, so she's fine. She comes back. Maybe she joins them. Maybe she doesn't have to figure that out yet. I need a hot girl in here. Of course, the vampire, chicks are hot too. And I haven't even brought them in yet. I haven't even brought any of them in yet. We need this hot girl to come. I don't know, because maybe something. There has to be some dynamics there I haven't figured out. Anyway, I wasn't figured it all out in this thing before I post it, but it's going to be too long, so I can't do that. Okay, they save the girl. They burn and kill some vampires, but it's taken a toll on them, because then when they get hot on the trail and things get closer and the hands throbbing, is that they can't stop, and they have to drive and they have to keep up, so they start taking uppers, to keep going, and then they're starting to hallucinate because they've been awake too long, and the next confrontation they shoot a couple of innocent bystanders with the Purity is good for to burn and hurt and dissuade the vampire, the bad ones, but the ones that have just been bitten, and it cures them. Okay, the Purity cures them because it converts their blood back to what it was supposed to be, human. Okay, but if you're already human and it hits you, it just causes your blood to turn to powder. It has like a really horrible effect. It just desiccates people. Okay. It's like a desiccation material, all right. And so but then it's this whole hallucinogenic thing here, and these people, and they're going crazy, and people they don't know whether they're vampires or humans, and they're drying up, and it's just a horrible, confused mess. Oh, and then I ran out of drawings. I'm gonna have to go on and do some more. This page, there's a scene where that's not it. I missed one. Where the hell? No, that's it. There's a scene where they're driving. They're out of their minds, and they're tired, and they're on speed, and they're driving the station wagon and erratically, and they come into this really small town down in the mountains. Okay, and it's really quiet. They're kind of driving around, and then right between the building or something. Anyway, the midget comes out, and the big 4x4 chopped down 2.5-ton military truck with the whining multi-fuel turbo and the pipe coming up and smoking and flames and fire and smoke, and he's got a World War II 9/11 45, and he smashes the back of the car with the truck, and and he starts shooting it anyway. There's a car chase. Basically, there's a car chase between the 70 town and country station wagon, the 2.5-ton chopped down multi-fuel military truck, not towing the trailer in this instance, just the truck. They've been in the town sucking the life out of everyone in the town, you know, in their services. Anyway, that's all to be worked out. But there's a big chase anyway. So the car chase in here, because a 2.5-ton truck is not very fast. It's actually, neither is a 70 town and country, I don't think, but it is faster. But what they do is, since they're down in the mountains, okay, in this case, how they get there, I don't know. There's vistas and there's mountains and there's, anyway, here in the mountains, the chase takes a turn and it goes in a Forest Service trail, like a logging trail down in the mountains. Have you ever been on one of those? Basically, it's wide enough for a truck to get in, like about wide enough for a pickup truck. and it's up and down and it's rutted and there's mud if it's been raining and big pools of mud and water. And it's easy for a vehicle to get stuck, okay? But if you're driving like crazy, like these guys are, to get away from the midget with the gun, and there's a gun battle, but they're driving and it's a chase scene, and the midgets, they're slipping and sliding, the midget is banging them, and they're, you know, with the, you know, and they're going through, and if they're driving crazy enough, you can probably get through, you know, you may be able to negotiate for a while anyway. So there's a bit of a chase here and a gun battle, but of course the midget in the truck, which is a 4x4, triumphs and crushes the town and country station wagon, throwing in some manner Dave, the hero Dave, out and down a steep hillside, hits his head on a rock, and he's out of it. The midget doesn't know where he is. The midget shoots to death his brother, Buck. Oh my God, it's just a part of the movie. It's just like, oh, I can't believe you killed, you know, one of the heroes, right? No, I just did. Killed him multiple times in slow motion, blood's flying everywhere. Okay, really cool. The midget gets down out of the truck, and then he drains the blood out of, the rest of the blood, whatever's left, out of Buck into milk jugs, you know. Not the plastic kind, because I don't think back then they had them. Glass jugs to take back to, well, in the back. He goes in the back. The back of the truck's got the coffins in it. I have to flush this out. Anyway, and they're like, then they have a little drink in there, you know. Okay. Anyway, that's it. Okay, so you think it's just horrible what's going on. Well, they can't find, you know, Dave, because he has not, and vampires can't come out and look. So it's up to the midget. He just turns around because it's done. He goes back. Anyway, well, Dave comes to, right, but at town at night, the zombies from the town come back, and they're sitting there and they're having the hellfire preaching sermon, and just about getting ready to, you know, like spike a couple more of the town folk to the yellow star, the offering star, if you will. And Dave bursts in. He bursts in, and the first thing he does is there's a multitude of things going on, because it's an intense, wild, wacky scene. And he's got the two 410 pistols he's got, and he shoots the two women, you know, and so their heads are on fire, and they're running around screaming. They're running around screaming. He kicks the midget. He kicks the midget in the face with his big cowboy boots with the silver tips. Just breaks his jaw and sends teeth flying all over the place. Oh man, it's just a wonderful scene. He's out of it. The midget's out of it. It's happened so quickly. The vampire's just kind of like, he's like shocked a little bit, because he doesn't know why he didn't sense Dave, right? Because Dave usually has the bag with the hand, and all these years they've been, you know, Dave's had the hand with the bag. And he was, how come I didn't sense you? And Dave's like, well, I got rid of the hand, MFer. I don't fear you anymore, and here I am. I'm not running from you anymore, right? But they kind of figured like they weren't running. I don't know, I have to figure out. There's going to be like very subtle character details which I have to flush out. Anyway, so then the vampire's like, he's going to get him, right? And he shoots. The star falls down. You know, the urn falls over. There's fire. The disco ball spinning around the mirror ball, and it's smoke and fire, and again, you know, and gunshots, and so what happens is somehow this mayhem, that vampire pounces on Dave with his mechanical claw. I want my hand, and he pins Dave's hand to the floor. The gun goes flying. The guns are flying. Dave's pinned to the floor. And he like somehow, I don't know who, what, somehow he gets the vampire. No, he jumps and Dave. There's a fight. Here we go. He jumps and Dave. There's a fight. He sidesteps and Dave takes a stake and he jams it to the good hand. Reads good hand into the offering star. It's like, so it brings the story full cycle. Jams it in there, and the vampire's so incensed at this point. He doesn't care. He like drags the table and he grabs Dave's arm with his claw and pins him, like wraps him over and pins him to the floor. And rips into his throat, and he's sucking his blood. And then everything slows down, and there's just this sound. It's quiet, and there's the sound of the sucking of the life force out of Dave. But Dave, it just has enough, and he reaches into. You can see it's kind of, he reaches into his coat pocket and he pulls out the last syringe, the last vial of the purity which his brother created. It's the last one he's got, and he just has enough urge, and he can only, the way he's twisted over and you can see his life force being sucked out, and he takes the needle and he just like sticks it in himself and he injects himself, knowing that it kills humans, but of course he doesn't care because he knows he's gonna die. So he has the purity in him which desiccates humans, dries them out, mummifies them, and or sets vampires on fire, right? So he's got this in him, and he's going between that state where he's going to be a vampire, you know, like dying, then be a vampire, and he's human. So he's like he's kind of drying out, but then he starts to come back because he's right. You see, he's right at that state, right? And he comes back. All the while, Reed is sucking the blood out of him with it's tainted now, okay, with the thing. So Reed's like, oh, and he's just like, there's this moment where he goes, oh, and he jerks back, and he's like, he's got this look on his face, and his head explodes, yay, and fire and flame, and yes, indeed, and then there's just quietness, and you see the crowd, the zombies who've been sitting there still the whole time. Their seats kind of like get up, and they just kind of walk out like zombies, file out, and Dave's laying like that, and you don't know if he's like okay or not because they walk out, and then it kind of fades away, and then it's morning, and then Dave comes. He's okay, right? Of course he's okay. The hero has to live through it, and he does. And so you see him like just like he's walking down the road out of the town, and here in the distance, you know, here's this vehicle. It gets bigger and bigger, and it's a black bus. Everything looks kind of black in it, and it stops. It's got a white cross on the side. It's very austere with the white cross, and a girl gets out of it, a really hot girl. She's got white hair, and she's dressed in white and hot white clothes, and there's like this, she's got kind of like a sheer chiffon thing hanging up, almost like angel wings, and she's like, Dave. And Dave's kind of stunned, and he's all bloody and messed up, you know, but he's walking, and he's like, what? And he realizes it's Angelica. That's right. Angelica is the hot religious woman he saves earlier, and while they're saving people that the vampires have killed, okay, he saves her, and she says, I knew that you would be here. And he's like, what? She goes, would you like to come and help us save souls? And you know, he's like, okay, and he walks up into the bus, right? And inside the bus it's just kind of like white, okay? And there's all these people that you recognize throughout the movie that they've saved, and they're all sitting there all dressed in various kinds of white clothing, and they're just sitting there, and they're kind of like staring at him, you know? And she's kind of staring at him, and he sits down, and he's just kind of sitting there, and you don't know, because it's like this, there's this tension, like, what's happened, right? And he just says, has anybody got any whiskey? You got any whiskey? Or maybe he has a bottle in his pocket. He doesn't say anything. He just picks the whiskey out of his bottle and opens it up and takes a drink. Because that'll be like he's still like kind of the tough guy, you know. It's like that hint. And you don't know what's going to happen. Like maybe the injections didn't do what they were supposed to do, and it causes something, and there's like, could be a sequel, right? You know, even though she gets out in the daylight, right? It's like very unusual. And that's the end of the story. Until I get money in the budget to do the sequel. I know how popular this is going to be. If you're a movie producer, you just need to contact me.